there's so much division. Where can you? What I would ask you to do, if you were to make a claim about anything, learn to falsify claims, like create null hypotheses instead of statements, and then sit with that and present it to a room so you don't get yourself in an echo chamber.
Bima, that's literally the definition of having a gynocentric outlook. That's not the reality of the country, of our poise and magnitude and sphere of influence. I'm willing to die on this following fucking hill that this is all partially fucking laden in the pure putrid hatred for the reemergence of definitive, lawful, order following, statute imputing, white, Christian, straight, staunch masculinity coming back. The return law and order. I swear to God, this is partially laden in that shit. Years ago, when Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice were trotting around, y'all didn't have there weren't this many hyper-focused fucking geopolitical overnight wizards. Now everybody's fucking got a fucking digestible take on how the Trump administration is making 45 fucking mistakes from Monday. You know? Fuck that. I'm dying on this hill. I might sound crazy, but fuck that.
I don't know why you keep saying gynocentric. Like, you don't think that, like, logic is
everyone deserves a chance. Everyone deserves a chance. That's not reality, man.
So hold on. We're not talking about reality. We understand how oppressive and tyrannical and authoritarian people and human beings can be, right? Especially people that even in a conversation and are exposed to the idea and a reflection with a mirror shock. Hey, look, you're being a little, you're contradicting your own statements, okay?
Ma'am, you understand in real time there are conglomerates that hate each other's guts, but to oppose us will work together. We're facing almost destabilization of our fucking dollar. Saudi Arabians didn't renew that contract that fucking, his name escapes me. What was his name? It wasn't Carter. That they do their business deals in the dollar, the reserve contract.
Petrodollar.
There you go. Thank you. They didn't renew that. Like, I mean, you're talking as if we have the luxuries and liberties of, like, the fucking, 80s or 90s, or where maybe the economy was just a little bit more forgiving and things were nicer, so there weren't certain things looming on the horizon here. Now, I'm not even talking from the perspective of considering Iran imminent, which I don't. I don't think it's imminent. I think it's retarded that we even. No, we're not. There's no way we're going to war. It's too much mutually assured destruction in too many facets. But anyway.
But isn't that the point? I'm just going back to what Peter Thiel, the money man behind all of these people, and which is why I think this shit is evil, is because Peter Thiel's philosophy, who funded J.D. Vance and one of the biggest donors behind Trump, he has a very different philosophy that he doesn't believe in competition. He believes in power. And power is his ultimate goal because he doesn't believe in sharing. There's a philosophy that he's behind. This is not speculation. You got to read his mimic theory, right? He believes that everybody wants to be great, and he believes that everybody wants to mimic. And you can Google mimic theory by there is a French philosopher that Peter Thiel follows. I think René Girard is his name. But one of the things that he believes is that power is not something that can be shared, but it's by differentiation. And those who have the power make the rules. And that's why the billionaire class, or you can call it the Epstein class, whatever you want to call it, they're the ones that are allowing for the destabilization, because the key piece is the more destable it gets, the more power they're able to grab because they have their assets and their money and different resources than where we have it.
That's a good concise take. I give you that. By the way, I want to apologize. I wasn't trying to overtalk you or interject. I feel like I was kind of overhogging the mic, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of let someone type that. That was a good take, though, Ms. Beeman. Very concisely said, too. I like that.
But I still believe in hope and love, right? I'm like Bima. I have this internal optimism. But as I look at the reality of the money And even if you read the Epstein files and their intent to create destabilization in regions, when regions are destable, it's up for grabs for whatever money goes in there. So like Venezuela, it wasn't the small companies or little business people that went in there. It was the big money people that went in there so that they can go ahead and export. And that's why I look at the money. As much as people may advocate for Trump, I'm not against one side or the other. I don't have derangement syndrome. I have a class issue. Average citizens that are not in the 1%, and I say average citizens because that can range, then we're no longer allowed to play. We're not going to be part of the game.
So another good concise take, man. You got some good takes. I like that. Very, very, very prompt and astutely delivered.
Agreed.
Poise too. I give you that too. I say you got poise.
Unlike some gynocentric views,
Yeah. Mike is on you, Ivans.
Sorry, did I miss something?
We're waiting for your logical mic that you have, Ice. You seem to have a balanced opinion on many things.
I didn't hear the very last couple of things you guys were talking about. I was in the chat, so I apologize. I wasn't really focused. So.
I guess it goes back to the theme of the room. Maybe Trump is evil. Changed my mind.
Yeah, I don't think he's evil. I just think he's brash. I think he's, he uses the same tactics, and they work. I mean, after Davos, you had two political leaders who do not like Trump, openly stated they're not fans of his, but they said that they needed Trump to do this because Europe doesn't want America's fingers meddling in their business, but yet we want them to pay the bill. And it's time that Europe stands on its own 2 feet. Two separate leaders said that. And I was like, finally, this is all Trump wanted. He wanted them to start, hey, we can't carry the heavy load for everybody for all over the world. And you're like, wait, you guys aren't the world police. You want us to be. You want us to be the world's, uncle handing out the money. So, for me, I think there's the brashness of which he's always done things, and he comes out and says wild things. But in reality, he knows I'm only going to get part of that. But if I start really freaking crazy, they think they're winning, So I think that's what he does. And he's not a great speaker, so he just kind of goes with some side-ass stuff, and that's where he is. So do I think he's evil? No. I mean, I think he showed some compassion with some things he's done with other families. If you watched the speech today, this man is paying for a woman that nobody even knows to have cataract surgery that was there. This guy does compassionate things, but he doesn't want people to know he's got a soft side. He wants to be this big tough guy, which I think is dumb. I think it's good to show the soft side once in a while. But it's Trump. That's just who he is. So, I mean, he's a brash asshole. I think sometimes it's funny when he comes up with the nicknames. Other times it's completely inappropriate. It's just like, dude, just stop. So do I think he's evil? Absolutely not. He's got all the money he would ever needed. He really thought it would be easier to I can clean this up. I know it's broke because he was part of it. He's admitted that. Yeah, I know exactly what the loopholes are. We need to close them, That's finally something that was said. Name another politician that has said that. And in a few years, they're worth $8 million. You got one who started a wine company who's only made one bottle of wine that's called People's Lies, which you can't even buy, and it's worth $15 million or whatever. It's like, this is what's happening. These guys, yeah. And then the other one was worth $8 million, and they asked her, you were in the negative when you got here. Can you tell us how you're worth $8 million now? And she refused to respond. She just kept walking. And I was just like, and this is on both sides. There's a lot of wealth that's being generated. And I just want to say, Martha Stewart's poor ass, she just got, okay, you can call it insider trading, but somebody says, yo, shit's about to dump. Look, all of us then say, fuck, I got to save myself. Well, look what the Pelosi's did. Bought a bunch of NVIDIA before they pulled the deal off for the government. Then, after they got a whole shitload of hell about it, they held on to it for a long time. Then all of a sudden, just before they're like, okay, fine, we'll make you happy, they sell theirs. And a few weeks later, NVIDIA tanks. Don't think that they had some inside information because there were some things that happened with the contracts with the government. You don't think they knew. We let politicians get away with it on both sides. And in my opinion, every single person starts gaining net wealth. We need to be looking at, why did you do that? I don't think a single politician should be allowed to invest. Their close immediate family and people in their extended family should not be allowed to be investing in anything that they are voting on or passing legislation on, passing bills that might be getting contracts out. Nope. Because guess what? I'm going to call up my friend Ravella. I don't know how you say her name. I hope I get it right. But hey, here's the deal. I can't do this, but you put in $200,000 in, Lockheed Martin. It'll be worth $2 million in, 12 months. We can't have that happen. It's time
They do
we
have
put our foot down. We
They
need
do
to
have laws
get those.
against that, but the problem is that it's difficult to track. Like, you can't tell who knows
Right.
what, when, where, why, and how, unless you track every phone call, everything that every person knows, from every person knows.
Actually, Shai, that has changed. The Foreign Corrupt Practices and the corruption offices in the current administration have now closed down. People have stepped that down, and there's no enforcement. The FCPA or any type of corruption is right now being squashed at DOJ. That is a fact. You can research it.
No, that's fine, but the point is, people act like what all the things that happened under Trump in the past, one year have been happening for the entirety of America. And that's not the entirety of America. That's a small glimpse in American history, right? It's a blip on the map of American history. And things can go back. This is I don't care that certain things changed recently. I care that what the overall character of the state has been over time. People really need to stop doing that. It's Trump became God.
I never said that. I just said the current state of the corruption law.
Yeah, the current state. That's the current state.
The laws on
it wasn't happening. There's always corruption in every system, right? Because systems are systems are made by men, and the issue with is that what people
men and not women, of course.
Some women make some systems, but also the reality of it is the aspect of the corruption happens through the fact that people look at the system, they try to figure out how to game the system, and they perfect a gaming of the system, which allows them to benefit where other people have not found this gaming of the system.
Right.
You're interesting. I find it interesting.
So I just want to bounce off what he just said. So, and what you just said. So, it's been changed, right? But has anything stopped or was anything prevented before that? No. We know for a fact, if you look in the past 10, if you follow for the last 10, 15 years compared to 20, 25 years ago, and you see this steady climb that's still beating hedge funds. But if you look over the last 10 years, 12 years, holy hell, it's a skyrocket. So what was in place didn't work. And if you don't shut it down, just like the education system, we're spending more money than anybody per child. Why aren't we going to the places that are leading and saying, what are you doing different? Let's do it that way. That's how you make changes. I'm sorry, but the federal government blew up and it wasn't getting better. Things become bogged down. I think it was Mark Cuban who said, I'm paraphrasing here a little bit, but I think he was like, you got $1 coin, and this is Cuban, who's a Democrat. He says, you give the Democrats this $1 coin, tell them they got to sell it for 50 cents. It's going to take them 6 months or whatever he said to get a committee together to figure out how they're going to sell it for 50 cents. He goes, then you give it to Donald Trump and say sell it for $2, and he just sells it, And what he's saying is the system is bogged down. When you get more people in all the time, everything just keeps growing. Government doesn't have to grow. Government doesn't always have to create laws. Government doesn't have to keep the laws on the books. The things that are killing us is all the red tape. They asked every Fortune 500 company that left, why did you leave? Taxes, number one. Number two, regulations. Two things that we keep wanting to force on them. But the beauty of it is they go to a country that has no regulations, no emissions, but we're still going to buy their stuff there. In America, you got to be clean, but we'll buy it if you go over to China and do it. And
yeah, but people in China,
still buying
people in China are wearing face masks because of the amount of smoke and pollution that they have in their cities, right?
Yeah.
If you go into like Chicago or a main city, developed city in America, you don't have to wear a face mask to cover your face from all the local pollution. I mean, there was one point you had to, right? In like Los Angeles, or you probably should be in Los Angeles and probably New York and places like that, but because of regulations, people don't have to do that. A lot of it is about also caring about the environment. The government has a stake in the environment and the preservation of the environment. That's why they have certain laws regarding that. As far as school goes, the American child, right? You can go somewhere in Bumfuck, Alabama or Oklahoma, and you will see that they have a better or higher standard of living than most people in other countries, most children in other countries, right? Including China, including Russia, including Saudi Arabia, maybe not Saudi Arabia, but they're also working on a different reality. But that's the reality of America. America has a vested interest in maintaining certain standards for certain people for all of the citizens, actually.
Well, that was a point, but again, I disagree. I only because I'm looking at the evolution of our, like you said, I agree, maybe we'll go back. But full transparency, we are decentralizing, and I'm okay with decentralization. I'm not a federalist in any way, but you're decentralizing the standards of education. And I agree with you, Ice, when you were speaking about Trump coming in and didn't want to foot the bill for the EU. But when you create an environment of animosity and you create an environment of tariffs, because the tariffs in the reality are a taxation against the citizens. It is not paid by the importer, the importer, or well, it's paid by the importer, but not the seller in the other country. They are paid by the citizens of this country. And so what happens is that when you begin to blow up the rules-based system that we had, where we all agree, and that's the same standard that we have in the United States. We have a constitution that we agreed to go by. We have the checks and balance of the system. When you begin to challenge the checks and balance, whether it's the rule base of internal government or external government, you begin to shake the foundation, and there is no it becomes an us against them type of world. So what happens when we, of course, we're competitive and we were the best in the world, but we're not anymore. Let's just be full transparent. We're not producing the best cars. And the partnerships that are developing based on current paradigms, people are creating relationships and trade relationships that are going to exclude U.S. What happens? You think that we want people to go and do their own thing, but when they don't buy from us, what are you going to do? Threaten them with high tariffs or bombs? They will choose to go to other people. The reality is America's not understanding, and I'm an American and I love my passport, but I'm looking to go everywhere. But I'm seeing the reality as a person who sees this country and loves the country, but really concerned about the direction it's going in, whether it's this administration or the ones before. When you begin to isolate yourself and you believe to rely on isolationism and you remove the competition where we become the best and the brightest in the world, and you begin to put international students and you ban immigrant. It's not just the bad immigrations. The students are not wanting to come to this country. They're going to Canada. They're going to all the other countries. The key piece to the innovation that I believe is the education that we had from many people, from people coming in and pouring into our educational systems too. That we are now we've never been number one, really, to be very transparent. We're like number 25 or even 40 on the educational list. And now the products that we have, we don't produce our own, but we can't produce everything. We're not going to go back to mercantilism because we begin to produce everything. We don't even have enough expertise in our own people to produce everything we want to do. So we'll go ahead and buy the semiconductor chips from Taiwan because that's the way the infrastructure does. And we try to manufacture t-shirts, maybe let's bring that back here. But the competitive stuff we're losing. And when we're looking at rare earths being produced, and it's not that China produces it, they just learned how to refine rare earth minerals very good. We haven't decided to invest in that technology here in the United States. But instead, we decide to go into Venezuela and hope that they got rare earths. But we make policies against countries that may have rare earths, but because of other issues, so we've got to look at what direction we're moving in and perhaps become a little bit mindful on these relationships that we don't bluff.
So there's something to that, but I think that the federal government in every country, right, has to think about the relationships that it has with other countries on all levels, right? So they're multifaceted issues with every country, and America, like every other country, has to make those types of decisions because countries don't work, like you said, in isolation. So the isolationists are wrong because everybody else in the world, like their economies are interwoven with one another, and they will continue to be interwoven with one another because no single country has everything that they need. So they have to borrow from this place or use this place to do some manufacturing and do some other stuff right here and there. As far as education goes, America's education issue is more so is individualistic. And if you look at the education system,
is it individualistic?
I'm sorry.
I don't think we're individualistic. We have a standard.
No, the American educational system compared to many other countries is very individualistic.
No, we don't have a global standard. That means, but we do. It's not.
Excuse me. There is a mandatory K through 12 education, right? Which means you have to educate your child, but you can educate your child at home. You have to make sure that they meet certain criteria as far as reading and writing and arithmetic, those types of things, right? And that's foundation that's given to you by the state to ensure that you are educating your child. That is something that's mandatory. Right. But you have vocational schools, you have various other facets of schools.
You have that in other countries too.
Very, very seldomly.
No, Germany, you have it. You have the Realschule, you have the Hochschule, and you have the university. You have the same thing in France. You have the traditional bac, and you have the baccalaureate, you have the bac. You have different countries. In Japan, you have the same thing. A-levels, O-levels. It's different.
We're talking about these top schools or countries of schools, right, that you're talking about, which include Russia and China, which I was speaking about specifically, not Western Europe.
No, I said Japan and Singapore. They have O-levels, A-levels equivalent. So they're just as competitive. The standards about math. Let me just be full. We're very weak and sad at math. We don't even know our geography.
I agree with you, and yet people from all of these other high-level countries are going to American universities.
No, they're not anymore. They're going to Canada.
They only have it in the past.
They're not coming here anymore.
But you're talking about in the past couple of years. I'm just talking about in the past 10 years, 15 years, 20 years.
Yeah, but there's a trend to shift.
What those people did was that they went to America, sent their kids to America, learned how the systems worked better, and then imported them into their countries. That's what happened. They learned from what America was doing. They copied it, and actually, in some of those countries, they actually have satellite campuses for the top universities in America, so that they can still teach their kids.
But here's the funny part: they weren't American citizens that came here, though. See, if we were so good, we would be producing our own talent to that great level, right?
I'm not disagreeing.
And exporting our talent to other countries. So what I'm just saying,
hold on. You didn't even allow me to finish my point. You just wanted excuse me, I wanted to finish my point. The fact is, if you ever look at Chinese or Russian education systems, which are the highest in math,
Yeah, I understand the Russians.
Give me a second, ma'am. Give me a second to let me finish. That you will see that their schools are hardcore factories, right? Their schools are hardcore factories. A fifth grader is doing high school level math and science in Russia and China that would compare to a fifth grader in America. I mean, it's astronomically different, right? Those levels of math and the amount of homework that they get per night is astronomically different. Kids are going to school from 7 in the morning until 7 at night and then have 3 to 4 hours of homework at night. They're doing college level homework and they're being pushed into that direction very early in their lives, and that's across the board. And not everybody can handle it. And until recently, China had a very high level of suicide rate amongst its students. It's changed over the past decade or so, but it was extreme.
China and India actually are the top at sending students out. They all come to America. There was over 600,000 of them, I think, in 1 year, just to give you an idea. So America's schools are still highly considered at the tops. I mean, when they send over, I think, 1 million, I think it is, globally, but America is the number one source for those. Those kids still come here and excel. There's a reason. There's the way that they've been raised to understand the education system, to respect the education system, to respect. Talk about cars, that's where I'm going. You would have to explain to me how Germany, considered one of the best car makers in the world, has got Mercedes and BMW here. And actually, if you want to know the truth, BMW America is by far the largest manufacturing facility in the world.
You know why? Because we have...
Hold on.
But it's because of imports, though. I'm in import and export.
Yeah,
it's because of the imports.
A ton of them. Okay, we export everything that's produced here. You know what? We now, in America, BMW America, makes the chips for the BMWs. And
because we're consumers.
BMW.
U.S. is the biggest consumer.
You know we export a fuck ton of BMWs?
Yes, but
okay,
what's the country of origin? What's the country of origin, though? What's the country of origin on the goods? Because it's not all U.S. Because what you have to understand is we do a lot of the assembly. We manufacture. We're not doing all the finished parts here.
What Bavarian Motors Works facility by March 1 year broke the record in the history of the company for the most sold pre-sold BMWs.
That's an exception, though.
No, it's not an exception. It's been happening every year since. Okay, so what's
true, but I'm saying the BMW line of importing.
I let you roll.
Okay.
BMW is now talking about having their transmissions made in America. So to say that we can't be leaders in the auto industry, you have to explain to me why BMW is so huge and saying we can do this here and we can now put the transmissions, have them made there. And you know what? Now I'm going to go a little bit further. Okay? They're proving that it works. They literally have tests to be able to apply. That's how many people they got wanting to work for them. Okay, so people will line up to build cars, and they make money, clearly. But we want to talk about tariffs. What are tariffs? We heard the Supreme Court say it. They're taxes.
Yeah.
Right? And in math class, we're terrible. America's terrible at math. But if I put a 1, an equal sign, and a 1, I can interchange those, right? I can't put a 1 and a 2, but I can put 1 equals 1. And if taxes are tariffs, or if tariffs are taxes, then guess what? Taxes are tariffs. And we're okay tariffing a country in our own country to produce. We'll tariff our own country. Where does the taxes and the tariffs, who pays those? Oh, us as the consumer. It's a cost of building the products, right? So we're okay tariffing an American company building in America, but we don't want to, we're going to take Apple, for instance. We will go ahead and let Apple leave because the taxes get too high. And they had a profit of $252 billion, of which zero was taxed. Now, they did a study on Greenville, South Carolina. If every person there spent $20 a week at a local mom and pop shop, okay, what is it, 60,000 people, Greenville, something like that, but they spend $20 a week at a mom and pop shop, a little cafe, the local hardware stores. They determined that it would bring an extra $300 million into the local economy because of the way it regulates. That's just the people spending $20 a week. What do you think $252 billion recirculating in the U.S. economy, what would that equate to? So we let them
It's not the same.
It is the same.
No, it isn't the same. Tariffs are a blanket. It's a blanket on a product. Now, taxation, the taxation of a corporation, when they do and build the facility, it's a different taxation of sales, generation of sales. It's not tariffs.
When they sell the product.
Yeah, but when they sell the products, the sales of the products of what's sold at Apple, they're sold.
We're going to sell a hairdryer.
Yeah, when you're selling that, that's sold. That's sales tax. That's sales tax within a region. So a state will have a sales tax. A city will have a sales tax. Every time I buy a new phone, it has a sales tax.
If the Fed raises the taxes, who the fuck pays it? Do you think
you're seeing it differently? The Feds will raise.
I'm saying it very clearly.
No, actually, you're seeing the taxes difference. No, because tariffs and taxes, there are taxes on people, but they're applied in different ways. The importer pays the taxes on goods that come in, and that importer passes its cost on to the citizens, and that can be anywhere in the states. Right? Anywhere. Whereas sales, when you're talking about Apple producing $200 billion worth of and not paying taxes, profit. Because they incorporated themselves. First of all, they're incorporated, I think, in Delaware. But when they do their sales structure of what was going inside and how they structure it, they probably got a sales entity in the EU, which captures most of their international sales.
Where you missed is you didn't listen to everything I said. Their overseas profit was $252 billion.
That's the point. Yeah. Okay. And that's the difference.
Hold on.
Every country, every company.
Simple back and forth. You've never let me even finish, so this will be a simple back and forth. So I'm okay doing that with you. $252 billion. Let's just say that American companies, they don't pay a fair share. What's their fair share? Do you know what they pay? What would Apple pay on taxes? What would their tax share burden be on $252 billion in profits?
You're still missing the point because
No,
tariffs. Because they're going to have an incorporation outside.
You're doing it on purpose.
No, I'm not doing it on purpose because I don't think you're seeing. No, taxes and tariffs are two different. They're still taxes, but they're not applied the same way.
The Supreme Court said they are.
They didn't say they're applied the same way. I said taxes are tariffs, but they roll down to the consumer. Taxes of a company. Taxes on the company is taxes on the company. Yep. Tariffs are taxes on the citizens and the consumers of that company. Of that country.
That's not true either. And Apple is incorporated in California, so there's a lot of misinformation going on.
Yes, but they're incorporated. You can have an incorporation, but their legal entity, I believe, has the Delaware courts because of the tax structure in the United States. You can break it down. A lot of companies in Silicon Valley.
I don't think that's true.
Okay.
Our taxes cost of doing business. Bottom line.
Yes.
Thank you. That's my point. And when I have a business and I look at that, I look at my profits and I said, shit, I got to pay more taxes. Guess what I do to my prices? All my buildings, every single one of them goes up. Why? I'm not eating it.
Maybe not. That depends on market forces. Can you raise your price and still sell your product?
Everybody
The point to her long rambling thing that she completely failed on is the fact that the tariffs have brought in $5 trillion in jobs and infrastructure, manufacturing, $500 billion.
Where? Give me your evidence. Give me your evidence. Give me your evidence.
Don't interrupt me. Let me
I'm just asking for the evidence. You're spilling facts.
You have impulse control.
Maybe I do. But I just need, when you're spilling stuff, give me facts.
Hold on. Do you know that we literally had
Do you understand how to let somebody finish talking?
We literally had nations. I'm sorry. We had nations leaders standing next. The fucking leader of the nations standing next to Trump saying, "We're pledging to do this, building a steel manufacturing plant in the United States." And you know what? Oh, that might be expedited because guess what? A steel plant closed in the United States, which means instead of going somewhere else, they might be able to buy that one and start sooner. Oh, so it might not be 5. It might not be.
That pushes it. He's claiming 20 of the pledges. It's $5 trillion deals signed, including $500 billion for TMC to come over here and make chips in the state of Arizona. Look it up. I don't have to provide my receipts. Go look it up.
Yeah, I know TMC. It's in Arizona. That I'm familiar with. Full disclosure, I work for Google, but I'm a professor in the daytime too. So you can look at me. So I know that.
Well, you're jumping all over me going, prove it. I'm telling you the facts. $5 trillion in deals came out of Trump floating these tariffs and causing American jobs to be created. A tariff is not a tax. The Supreme Court did not rule it a tax, and I can prove they didn't rule it a tax. And if Abby's still in the room, I bet you she'll back me up on the law of the ruling, just like she backed me up the last time we had a conversation.
Not really. She didn't back you up really, but
she completely backed me.
No, she didn't. But
anyway,
go ahead.
They didn't rule that a tax is a tariff. The tariff is not directly a tax to the American citizen in every
I said to the consumers
case. It's not. If the market forces can get the raised price, they're going to raise the price and pass it on. If they can't, they won't. It's not happening across the board.
And right now, with the economy struggling, because it's struggling more than people believe it is, and it has been for years now.
By what measure?
What's that?
By what measure?
When we just look at the spending, when we look at what the GDP is, when we look at housing.
GDP is up. It was up to 4 something. They're predicting the Atlanta Fed says it's going to go 5, maybe 6.
Right.
Okay.
It's been
wages are up 4.4. Wages are up 4.4.
Right.
The CPI is down. It was 2.7 at the end of the quarter. It's dropped to, I think it's 2.4 right now. Unemployment's a bit higher. It dipped very, very minor. But by what measure are you saying the economy's messed up?
Okay, let's go to the decline, because I'm going to go back to the manufacturer decline. Yes, we declined in 2025 and 2026 at the very beginning. So from let's do the whole year. The prior year, 2025, job losses were between April 2025 and December 2025. All the way that time, we lost about $72,000 to $108,000, 108,000 jobs, right? So there's a stagnant job growth too. So you can't say they created jobs, because when the economy is slightly declining, you're not creating jobs. That's why you have the market. That is why you have the market that you do have, because the tariffs also create a strain and availability of cash by the companies that were paying the tariffs, at which they also limit the hiring and the goods from coming into the country. You had small businesses, as in the woman who was working up. There are several people who are working on Etsy that had small businesses, and we know that small businesses are the blood of this country, where they had to pay the increased amount on the tariffs. One example was, what was it called, rose gold, that this woman was making goods on Etsy. You can look up that little piece in case. She had a problem because the tariffs increased about 40%. We're not talking about the 15% that's part of the IEEPA tariffs that were now considered illegal, right? It was the blanket tariffs that were put in place, and she had to close down the doors. A lot of small business, because the profit margin was so slim, that they had to consider either laying off people or close their doors. And that is the reason why there was a there was a decrease in some of the job losses, right?
But okay, so you said the manufacturing's down. It's up 0.64% year over year. I think it's 2.4. So
look at the manufacturing decline in 2025.
Okay, you said 2026 is down, but 2026 it's up 0.6 already. I just actually looked that up. But what I will tell you is this: manufacturing. Everybody thinks big manufacturers. Do you know what percentage of manufacturers are over 100 employees? Like less than 17%. 93%, I think, are under. No, 70% are under 20 employees, and 93% of those provide health insurance. So manufacturing isn't these huge conglomerates like Apple that we need to bring back. Nails for homes. There was only one manufacturer 10 years ago. I don't even know where my nails come from now. Guess what? We can bring those jobs back, and they can be profitable. There's manufacturers all over this country doing it still and making great money. I can tell you, I run a manufacturing company. We do engineer wall panels, roof panels, ag buildings, commercial buildings, homes. We do it all. Okay? And what I'm telling you is, now there's a decline. Now I'll tell you this:
that's not true. The numbers on manufacturing just came out, and they're up. I don't remember the exact percentage.
Come on, yeah, but they're not going to be. They're not sustained. That was just based on January, and not even February's over yet. We're talking about the entire 2005. And your numbers, you've got to look at what's available, because there was a government shutdown and the numbers were not being produced. But nevertheless, when we're talking about manufacturing, you're looking at chemicals, food and beverage, and tobacco, and you have a small number that do computer electronics, which is about 6%.
And we're up 2.4% year over year.
Yeah, but they hit 6.6. Is that what Trump numbers told you?
No.
Okay.
Go look them up, please.
Okay, whatever. Oh, okay.
Whatever. Now, here's what I'm going to slap the living shit out of somebody out there, I know, because we heard for 4 fucking years. We had record growth. No shit, dumbass. We fucking shut the country down. But good God, let's let the Democrats get on TV and say,
I'm not
we had
picking
so
sides.
many fucking new jobs this month. Well, fuck it. Let me shut the bitch down. I'll shut this fucking country down, and then every motherfucking day I'll set a new record when I open it. For fuck's sakes, it's not hard to say all these things that they've been saying for fucking 4 years, and then they say, well, we're just riding our coattails. When something bad goes wrong, it's fucking Trump's fault. When it's good, it's the fucking last guy's fault. And let's be real. Whose fucking fault is it that we got 22% inflation in 4 fucking years? You just took fucking 22 cents out of every dollar somebody makes and fucking pulled it out of their paycheck. I hope you like it. Guess what? There ain't nothing about that economy that was good, but they told us it was. They told us the inflation was transitory. The fucking left economists, the left-leaning economists said, guess what? Inflation's going to be way up here this quarter.
So I guess we both can agree that the numbers are not good from either side.
We have to admit we were wrong. We didn't expect this. We didn't see it coming. You had the Fed not lower interest rates, and part of the fucking chair, the board, wrote a dissent about it, saying we should be lowering it. But now Powell didn't want to do it. Why? Fuck it, it's anti-Trump. We all know that. He's pushing that motherfucker hard to lower rates. Lower rates and see what happens. Because guess what? I love it. Well, when I bought a house back in this year, we paid 14%. Yeah, the house you bought was $62,000. Why don't you go see what it is at 6% when you're spending $500,000? Totally different fucking category. And this is why people are totally off. You can look at all the numbers back then when it was 2 and 3% for freaking mortgage. House sales are going to fly. This is why prices went through the roof. Prices over doubled. On the water down here, it went from $1 million for a very nice lot to $1.25 million to now it's over 2.5 for any lot. And you got to tear the house down because it needs to be tore down. That over double. On the Intracoastal, $5 million plus. This is what happens when you do things. And I thought it was bullshit. You should not have lowered the interest rates. There's a lot of things done throughout all of that. The $3 trillion stimulus package we have totally destroyed us. We were, 3.8 or 3.9 trillion, I believe it was, before COVID. They added $3 trillion, and we're actually above that number. We never lost that $3 trillion. It's not coming back down. They're just finding new ways to spend it because America knows we're already up to 6.8. Let's go to 7. And it's going there. This is what's happening. We got a government that's just sitting there spending money. And guess what? We want to blame inflation on the president? No.
After 1 year.
The people running.
1 year.
What's that?
I'm not blaming, and I'm not blaming one-on-one.
Like you go to McDonald's and they hand you a meal. We're sitting down at a dinner. It takes time to get the meal delivered.
Hey, I'm not blaming just one year. Trump had a prior administration too. Nevertheless, let me correct real quick. Yes, Apple, but Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, and Netflix are all Delaware corps. And so what I'm trying to say is that most of the businesses are going to be Delaware corps. Why? Is because that's a corp that's state that doesn't evolve or pay where you have to deal with taxes, right? That was one of just like Nevada, just like Texas. It's either a choice between those few states. So I stand corrected on Apple, but I know that all my other tech companies and a lot of major manufacturing companies are Delaware corps.
Correct.
Now let me stand corrected too, and you need to correct yourself too. Manufacturing. Let to be very clear. Yes, 70% we got manufacturers, but you know what they are? You got 12% that are chemical. You have 11% that are food and beverage and tobacco. Of course you're going to have tobacco. But we've created the cigarettes and the little vape pens, right? No problem. You got maybe 6% of all our manufacturing. You throw in TMSC, you throw them in there, Yes, but we only have 6% of the global semiconductors, communication, and the medical devices, right? Transportation equipment, and that includes automobiles, aircrafts, Boeing. Yes, we have Boeing, but Airbus is in France, but we only do 6%. Now you have the common competition of electronic cars coming up, where we got to compete with probably BYD that's going all over the world, that has stifled the competition of Tesla. But Tesla's not the only electronic cars, but it was one of the ones that were breaking grounds, and now we're only manufacturing of all this what we're doing internationally and globally, 6% of all of transportation equipment, and then fabricated metal products. Let's just be real. I'm giving you a percentage. I'm not talking blankage. I'm talking machine shops, forged metals, because we had a lot of our steel industry that had suffered from truly, and I'll definitely cite on this, where the tariffs, where we had countervailance, where people were dumping bad steel in our country, right? So I understand that. You had to deal with countervailance, which are taxes to avoid to deal with people that were dumping, anti-dumping laws, right? So the manufacturing that you're talking about is very limited in scope. When you're looking at chemical, food and beverage, computers, 6%, cars, 6%, fabricated metals, 6%. That's still not enough. But the reason why there's a trade imbalance and a deficit is because the U.S. is mostly consumers, and we don't manufacture.
And you're making the point for why Trump's tariffs are good.
No, actually they're not good. We're not good. Because if we're consumers,
then how
if the majority of our country is consumers,
then how do we bring more of it back?
No, you're not going to make it more back, because nobody wants to pay.
Ever tried to since NAFTA? It is the one tool that one president since NAFTA has tried to do. Everything you just said is the case for why we should try the tariffs and see if they work.
No,
and
nobody wants to pay $4,000 for a cell phone.
To see if we can equal the trade balance.
No.
You're
going back to mercantilism. Do you know what mercantilism is? We're going back to mercantilism. Do you know what that is?
I know America's number 4 in steel production, and you made it sound like we weren't building anything, but it's 53.
I said fabricated metals.
I said, yeah, that's 4%.
Okay, so what's your solution? You're
what I'm saying is,
why don't you sit down and shut up and
listen? Yeah, I do have a solution. I believe in free trade agreements where there's a balanced trade, where we agree to import certain amount of trade and a balance of having our farmers and other people exchange whatever trade that they have in return.
And that's what
we have a limit on our import. You didn't let me finish. I thought you said I had to shut up. I'm not shutting up yet. You got it? Because I had a solution. All right then. So the free trade agreement, where you have an agreement of what certain industries, depending on what our needs are based on the country, that we have a free trade agreement to go in and out. A blanket tariffs on country that I dislike just because I don't like your policy, which we call economic statecraft, right? You're using policies and money to get the things you need, is not the solution. You've got to look at the needs of your citizens. We're the world's largest consuming market.
Yes,
no, then you don't do a free trade agreement.
How come no president has been able to do it? And why do you want to take away leverage?
Why do you want to take away leverage?
Yeah, don't you want to negotiate the best deal possible with the most amount of leverage you have to get the best deal possible for your citizens?
No,
because take away that leverage.
Because another country will do a tariff against you, and then that means our farmers can't get their shit into their country. No. Go ahead.
I don't know what you want me to say.
No, I thought I heard someone speaking.
You want to take away the leverage. It should be targeted. You're right on some level, but you want to take away the best leverage that we possibly have, and you want to cite the things we have to suffer. I, for one, will pay the extra $1,200. I'll pay $12,000 extra per year to pay for the tariffs that it causes the consumers to pay more if it fixes the problem. And if you're not willing to, then fuck you, you're not a good American citizen. Because
you don't tell me what I'm sorry, when did your family come here? When did your family come here?
We
Don't tell me whether I'm a good American or not. No. Because my family's been here since the 1830s. I'm sorry, my family's been here since the 1830s. So I'm a good American. I'm a good American. I'm a good American. I've got 5 generations that died for wars on this country. So no, I'm a good American. I just don't believe that slapping people.
And you're not willing to pay your share.
Oh, baby, I paid my share. I paid almost $100,000 in taxes last year. What about you?
Okay.
I paid $100,000 in taxes last year. What about you?
I'm glad you paid $100,000
Yes, but I paid my share. I paid my share. And I've got 4 generations of people that fought in the Civil War.
But you won't pay an extra $1,200 in consumer goods going up.
All American do.
So you'll pay $100,000 in taxes, probably because you don't know how to not pay taxes.
No, I know not how to pay taxes too. I have property that I own.
But the point is,
no, I write off my stuff, but I
$1,200 to try and fix the problems that you outlined.
That's pretty decent.
Your whole argument was that our manufacturing is not good, and we
I
need to
said our
fix
manufacturing.
that. And
You
if
can't. I said we can't
$1,200
bring.
is too much for you when you're willing to pay $100,000
No,
a
see,
year
you're
in
not even
taxes,
listening.
but
You only listen
won't
to
pay
half the comment.
$1,200 in taxes?
No,
It's
what I
illogical.
said is you misunderstood. I said we can't manufacture everything in this country. That is impossible. We are not at the level, or we're good to do everything in this country. That is a fact. And now, if you want to live in your little la-la land to think America can do everything, then you go ahead about your
I never
isolation
said
world.
that, and that
Well,
doesn't
no, but you said
doesn't
we did 75.
all
Somebody said we
of
have about.
manufacturing. We're only doing this and that.
You misunderstood though. We cannot do everything in this
It's about
country.
choosing what manufacturing we can do and do what we should do. And if $1,200 a year is too much for you to pay, when you pay $100,000 a year in taxes, but $1,200, let me cry over it, when the tariffs are the leverage that you're taking away.
No, but I don't
from
agree
getting
because
the right
I'm not speaking for
manufacturing
myself. I'm
back
speaking
to
of
this
for the
country,
average
which is
American.
already
The
happening
average
in
American
$5
can't afford to pay $12,000 $12,000 a year, sir. I'm sorry, the average American can't pay the $12,000 a year.
Coming back, and all the areas we do want, because nobody's suggesting that all manufacturing should be done, just the important things. But Miss $100,000 in taxes doesn't want to pay $1,200.
No, but see, it's not about me. See, that's the point. When you have compassion and empathy, you understand the rest of the people in this country can't pay $12,000 like you can, right? Because you think just because you can, everybody should do it. No, that's not the point. What is best for our citizens is that they should have the freedom of choice and buy what is best for them and their household. And I don't think it's fair or efficient for our American citizens to have to pay an extra 40% to 110%, which was on some of the products, on their goods that are going into their households. That is a fact.
Can I ask you a question?
All right, so is a person who has less money going to consume more than the person who has more money? No. The answer is no.
Yeah,
I'm
but
going to tell you something. If you read the book and you read the fair tax, it explains all of this. And people want to attack the fair tax, and then they jump in it, and they only half honestly try to tear it apart when they don't really look at the embedded taxes and things. They forget about that completely in the narrative. The problem is this. I know this because, okay, when we sell a building that's $10 million, a house, okay, that rich guy doesn't pay his fair share. Oh, wait. He's got the $10 million house on the water, and he's got 3, I'm not exaggerating, 3 condos in one building and 2 in another. I know the one we sold in a building, he was paying $200,000 a year in taxes. You know what? He bought that for his employees to use. Never got used. That's why he sold it. Didn't get used for 3 years. So he's paying in his main house, I don't even know. I've never actually done my market on it, my CMA. But I'll say it's probably about $30 million since his boat is about $150 million, right? It's a beautiful house. But he's paying on all these properties, and he has 0 kids in the system. He uses one of his houses, and he's paying, I don't even want to guess what a total would be. I know in his 3 condos, he's got to be paying about $450,000 in taxes. So you're telling me that the rich man isn't paying his fair share? No kids in the system. He's rarely here. When he's here, he flies in, he's on his boat. He ain't using the streets. He's employing people. He's got people at his house all the time. And you can find out, you don't even waste, they found this out. You don't waste a dime trying to find out who's at the poverty line. What you find out is where's that line in each state? Every person in that state gets that amount. And people say, well, why does the rich guy get the $142 to cover that taxes? He's going to tip that the first night he goes out with his boys to the steakhouse. He's going to give that tip to the freaking waiter. Because he's going to spend far more than that. It's irrelevant. It's about saving money. Send it to everybody. It nullifies the taxes. It nullifies the tariffs. And guess what? It doesn't hurt them. It helps them more than it ever helps any of us, even in the middle class. It helps those at the poverty line.
So you think so you're speaking trickle-down economics,
we
right?
We don't want to have solutions. We always want to attack everybody's way unless it comes from our side.
I didn't say it was right or wrong. What I'm saying is trickle-down economics. That's what you're speaking of right now, right?
I'm telling you, there's ways to do this, and I'm telling you, he's right. If you and him are trying to compete, and I'm sitting here going, well, wait a minute.
I'm not looking for competition. I don't care. I'm just telling you, tariffs were not good for the average American.
Because guess what?
I'm just telling you that tariffs is not good for the average American.
You for 38%, who's going to be manufacturing and sending it here? And you know what? India, everybody's always worried about China. Oh, India, you know them? Turkey, you know them? Both of them are trying to work out deals to start doing more manufacturing and taking it from China. Who does that advantage go to?
Yeah, because the tariffs are too high to import their shit into the United States. So what they believe is that they begin to isolate U.S. So once we become isolated and they create trade deals, see, you're not understanding. See, here's the problem.
What happened when China?
Here's the problem. U.S. is pointing their guns at several different nations, right? See, you can't pick a fight with everybody. See, what you don't understand is you can't pick a fight with everybody because at some point you will lose.
Guess what you do?
You can't pick a fight with everybody because at some point you lose. So what's going on is we're picking tariff fights with everybody, and you know who's going to lose is our citizens.
What did the UN do the day after Trump said we're out? What did the UN do? I can tell you what they did without even fucking hesitating. If you knew,
tell me what they did without fucking hesitating.
Thank you for admitting you have no fucking clue.
No, and I don't need to prove my knowledge to you. See, I'm not in a little my penis world that I gotta prove how big my dick is because I don't got one.
You were in that.
I don't got one. $100,000. Okay, so tell me, you're just mad because I make over $100,000 money, right? Oh, bitch, you're just jealous. Now you got some hate going on here. You got some hate.
Because America
literally pulled out in the next. But I just said, so tell me what. When people begin to personally attack,
we're broke and we're out of fucking.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the average citizen, though. I'm being real.
I'm talking about the European Union.
No, I'm talking about the average citizen. Because what happens is, what you don't understand is
what I don't understand is they're broke without us.
That's your assumption. Because see, what happens is they can create like in Davos. And other conversations that they've been having, even in Munich, when after Rubio made his speech, or did you see the speech that Rubio made? No, you didn't, right? Oh, sorry, you're too dumb for that too. Okay, so what happened was that they're going to make their own free trade outside of us that may exclude us. And like I said, you can't pick a fight with everybody.
Who they doing it with?
Because when you're picking a fight with everybody, just because we're a superpower, someone will lose.
Who are they doing it with? China? Are you too stupid to fucking remember what they said about it when China came to them?
Oh, but China did come. But they're now doing deals with China, right? But they're doing deals with China now, aren't they?
You know what
they're doing deals with China?
No,
they're doing deals with India.
You know why?
And they're doing deals with Malaysia. They're doing deals with everybody's doing deals now. And Trump is pissed off. And Trump is pissed off, and he's now telling them they better buy from us.
So then China went elsewhere. And China couldn't get it done, and then China came to the fucking table and bowed to fucking Trump and said, all right, fine, deal.
Actually, no, did you ever
Europe
see?
Said no.
Actually, you shake hands.
Europe said
you know what
no.
He's laughing. Do
Europe
you not see his face?
No.
Because the one thing China said was, he's been around for 2,000 years.
Europe
they know how to do patience.
Europe said no.
You know what China is only in the office for the next 3 years. You think they're going to break China? You got a dictator going against the United States. China is not going to break. They've been around for 2,000 years. They're going to be around. They've been around for 2,000 years. They'll be around longer than we will. So we need to learn how to play nice in the play yard.
Do you know what's happening to their economy?
Well, you know what? We still need to play nice in the play
You don't
yard.
know what the fuck you're talking about.
I do.
What if the other people don't play nice with you? You still going to play nice?
When you don't play nice, then you don't do tariffs. You do trade agreements, right?
What
You
trade
create an
agreement?
incentive, but
What
you don't
trade
have to.
agreement?
Just like sanctions exist.
Yeah,
I'm
what
not
trade
against
agreement
sanctions.
are you talking
I'm not against sanctions. I'm not against export compliance or trade compliance or regulatory compliance. What I'm not for is tariffs that harm our everyday citizens. That's it.
Well, tariffs are not necessarily harming us. We're forcing other people to lower their trade barriers. Because they've been erecting trade barriers left and right and in all kinds of names. That's why we need to fight back.
Thank you.
I disagree that everybody has a trade barrier because just because somebody doesn't want to have modified GMO meat into their country, I think they have restrictions and standards. U.S. would like to export their beef. I'm giving you an example. No, I'm not rambling. I'm not rambling. No, I'm just being honest.
Okay,
Some of the trade barriers that exist have to do with the quality of the meat or the quality of the product that's going into the
Jeep
country.
Wrangler has over 100% fucking tariff
What about
when
the
it comes
trade
in.
barriers for cars?
China literally nails the shit out of our cars so people don't buy them. So
But don't we literally nail the shit out of Chinese cars so that we don't have BYD on this market? We told Canada don't import BYD into their land. We're telling other countries don't do this.
Show me a $40,000 car in their country we're
Okay,
paying for.
well, but we tell other countries don't do this. Otherwise, we're going to raise your tariffs and we're going to cause you harm.
China did it to us first.
Yes, they did. They raised the tariffs on the on a Jeep Wrangler was the one that I used to specifically looked up, and it was right around like $48,000 at the time I did the research, and they were paying over $100,000 if they wanted to buy one there because China wants them buying their stuff. So literally over twice the value. So yes, should we tariff? Yes. Show me a car.
Actually, no. Why don't we make Americans buy our stuff?
You just can't fucking stop.
I'm just saying, why can't you just tell Americans to buy our stuff?
So
Can't you just mandate Americans to buy our stuff?
How do you do that?
Is that capitalism?
You guys are big. Hey!
That's the left wants socialism. That's all.
No, I'm just saying. No, actually, it's the right that I'm not. It's not right or wrong. I'm just letting you know that certain countries or certain administrations right now are buying into certain companies and telling them that they need to now operate in a certain principle.
Okay.
You think the TikTok deal? We're not a free market anymore. We're doing TikTok.
Bribery, whatever.
Oh, come on.
No, I don't know how you say it, so I'm just fucking saying it because I haven't heard you say it. But here's the deal.
No, I don't need you to know it.
I don't want to fucking know it. I don't give a fuck. You're fucking 2 cents to me. Fucking shit you out tomorrow. I don't care. I don't care.
Now doing personal attacks. Personal attacks are a sign of insecurity.
There's no insecurity. It's your fucking attitude.
See, there you go. You gotta control yourself. Breathe in and exhale.
How come you can't shut the fuck up and listen?
Breathe in.
No wonder you're fucking single.
And I'm not single, actually.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
You wish I was. You're probably single. See, that's where you go.
On you.
You're probably single and been dumped about 500 times.
Yeah, not quite. Been in 3 fucking relationships, and this one's.
Oh, that's the only one. Oh, I'm sorry. And how old are you? 58? 70?
Yeah, I'm 72. And with the same woman for 41 years. So now you can get on your knees and do what you should be doing.
No, what? Fart in your fucking face?